She was always in the corner. Have you ever had the feeling that someone was watching you even when you were alone? Not the supernatural kind, not a ghost or a spirit or some haunted mirror thing. I mean a real person, alive, breathing, staring. This happened when I was 28 and had just moved into my first real apartment alone. It was a pretty quiet complex, gated, well kept, mostly families and older folks. Honestly, it felt safe, peaceful, like the kind of place where nothing bad ever happens. A woman in her late 30s lived 2 units down from me. I didn't think much of her at first. She was always outside watering her plants, always wearing this long black cardigan, even when it was hot, and she stared a second too long every time we crossed paths. She smiled, but not the kind of smile that feels warm or friendly. It was stiff, empty, like she was trying to mimic what a smile should look like. One day I found a plate of cookies on my welcome mat. No note, just sitting there. I assumed it was from her. I didn't eat them. The next day she waved at me while I was leaving for work and asked if I enjoyed the cookies. I lied and thanked her. She just nodded and stood there watching me drive off. After that, things got weird. She was always there. Whenever I came home, late at night, early morning, she'd be outside, standing by her door or in the shadows behind her blinds. One night, around 1 in the morning, I caught her standing at her window, lights off, just staring. Another time, I heard rustling outside my patio. I pulled the blinds aside, and there she was, crouched near my bush. I opened the door and asked her what she was doing. She said she was checking on her cat. But I never saw her with a cat, not once. The turning point was when I started dating someone. My girlfriend stayed the night for the first time on a Friday. The very next morning there were scratches on my front door. Not like an animal scratch. I mean long, thin, deliberate finger scratches, 5 of them. We both kind of laughed it off at the time, but it shook me. I didn't want to think it was her. But deep down I already knew. That weekend my girlfriend and I went on a short trip out of town. When we came back something felt off. The lights were exactly how we left them. Nothing was broken or stolen, but something was wrong. It was my bed. My pillow was moved slightly, just enough to notice. When I lifted it, I found a small piece of paper, folded in half. The handwriting was shaky, like someone barely holding the pen steady. It said, "If I can't have you, no one can." My girlfriend screamed. I just froze. We checked all the doors, all the windows, no signs of forced entry. But that meant she had a key. We left that night and stayed at her place. My girlfriend refused to ever come back. I reported it to the complex management. They said she'd lived there for years and that she kept to herself. They brushed it off like it was a misunderstanding. When I finally returned to my apartment a few days later, she was gone. Her unit was empty, like she vanished overnight. No warning, no moving truck, nothing. And I wish I could say that was the end. But even now, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, and I swear I feel it, like I'm not alone, like someone is standing in the corner, watching. And every time I think of her, the black cardigan, the smile that didn't belong, the scratching, the note, I never found out how she got in, or why she chose me. But if you've ever felt like someone was watching you, you might want to look closer, because sometimes they're not watching from the outside. They're already inside. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content, and to watch more scary videos. Sleep tight if you can. Please share with family and friends. The parking lot woman. Have you ever felt like someone knew your every move even though you never told a soul? This story isn't about a ghost or some urban legend. This actually happened to me when I was 19 and it still haunts me. I was in community college at the time, working late shifts at a grocery store near campus. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. The store closed around 11, and most nights I'd get out around midnight after cleanup. The parking lot was massive, but almost always empty by the time I left. I used to park way out toward the far end. It was easier to pull out and get home faster. That's where I saw her for the first time, just standing there. She was maybe in her 30s, tall, thin, long black hair, just leaning against a lamppost near where I parked, facing my car. I thought maybe she was waiting for a ride, but the next night she was there again. Same spot, same position, not moving, just watching. And then again the next night. I didn't really say anything to anyone about it. I mean, it was weird, yeah, but she wasn't doing anything, just standing there. Maybe she worked somewhere nearby too, but deep down I felt it. Something was off. About a week after I first noticed her, I walked to my car after closing, and there was a yellow sticky note on my windshield. It read, "You're too handsome to be alone, no name, no number," just those 8 words. I remember just standing there staring at it, looking around the empty lot. There was no one in sight. I got in the car and locked the doors immediately. For the next few shifts, I started parking somewhere else, different side of the lot, once even behind the building near the loading dock. But it didn't matter. She moved too. Every night I worked, she was there. Different lampposts, same stare. She never said a word. I didn't post about this online. I didn't talk about it at school. I didn't even mention it to my girlfriend at the time. It felt too bizarre, like if I acknowledged it, it would get worse. Spoiler, it did. One night I found my rear tire completely slashed. Another night someone keyed the passenger door so deeply, it looked like it had been done with a knife. Still, no cameras in the lot, no witnesses. The store manager said there was nothing they could do. Then one night, as I was unlocking my car, I caught something in my side mirror. She was walking up behind me, slowly, smiling. I turned and backed up against the car instinctively. She stopped a few feet from me, and she said something I'll never forget. "You belong with me, not with that girl." I hadn't posted about my girlfriend anywhere. We weren't even following each other on social media yet. No photos, no check-ins. She shouldn't have known, unless she'd seen us together, in person. I finally went to the police. They took a report, asked some questions, but with no physical evidence, no actual threat, there wasn't much they could do. I felt stupid even being there, like I was overreacting, until the next morning. I woke up and opened my front door to head to class. There was a bird on my welcome mat, dead, neck twisted in this unnatural way, and on my door, in what I think was blood, was a heart smeared across the wood, perfectly centered. I stood there frozen for a full minute. I couldn't even breathe. That was the moment I knew this wasn't just some weird crush or coincidence. This was obsession. I packed that weekend, moved to a different city with my cousin, changed my phone number, got a job in a completely different field. I cut off all ties to that life, deleted old social media, started fresh. It's been 3 years. I haven't seen her since. But every time I walk to my car at night, I check my mirrors. Every time. Because I can still feel her eyes on me sometimes. And the thing is, you don't just unlearn that kind of fear. They say paranoia is when you think someone's watching you. But sometimes they actually are. And by the time you notice, it's already too late. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content, and to watch more scary videos. Sleep tight if you can. Please share with family and friends. She was my tenant. Have you ever let someone into your life only to realize too late they never planned on leaving? This happened last year. I was 33, living alone in a two-story house I'd bought after a rough breakup. The place was just too big for me, so I decided to rent out the basement unit. Just a side door entrance, separate space, clean, quiet. I found a tenant pretty quickly, a woman in her early 50s, soft-spoken, a little awkward but polite. She told me she was a writer and needed a quiet place to focus. She always paid rent on time, never caused a fuss. Honestly, she was ideal for the first 6 months. Then, things started to shift. At first it was small. I started finding cups of coffee on my front steps in the mornings. Thought it was a weird neighbor or maybe just a random act of kindness. But it kept happening every other morning. Same mug, same spot, still hot. I asked her once jokingly, "You leaving me coffee?" She smiled but didn't answer, just stared at me a bit too long. Then I started noticing my front door would be unlocked. I always lock it before bed, but some mornings it would be slightly ajar. No signs of forced entry, nothing stolen. Sticky notes began showing up too, little compliments. "You have a nice smile. I like your laugh." Written in neat, looping handwriting, stuck on my mailbox, my windshield, even on my door frame. It was unsettling, but still not threatening. I told myself she was just lonely, harmless. Then came the knocking, middle of the night, just knocking. No one there, no voice, no footsteps, just that slow, measured knock on my upstairs door. The first time it happened, I thought I was dreaming, but it kept happening. Every few nights, same time, between 2 and 3 a.m. When I finally opened the door mid-knock one night, there was no one, just the dark staircase leading down. I confronted her the next day. She looked shocked, genuinely acted like she had no idea what I was talking about. Swore she never came upstairs. Her voice shook a little, but I knew. So I installed a camera above my inside staircase, pointing straight at the door. That night I watched, in real time, as she walked up, barefoot, stood at my door and just listened. Didn't knock, didn't speak, just stood there, for 2 hours. I watched her through my phone, frozen, heart racing. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning I told her what I had seen the night before and she had to leave. I tried to be firm but not cruel. She didn't argue. She cried, not loudly, just these silent tears. Then she whispered, "You're my favorite part of the day. I can't go back to the darkness." That phrase stuck with me. But she left, took her things. I changed the locks the same night. A week went by, quiet, peaceful. Then I came home one night and the front door was open. I had definitely locked it. Inside my bedroom was a mess. Drawers pulled out, sheets thrown around. But nothing was stolen, except for one thing. My pillowcase and a framed photo of me and my ex that sat on the nightstand. That's it. The cops came, took a report, said they'd follow up. They didn't. I hadn't heard from her, no sign of her anywhere. Until 3 weeks later when my ex called me, panicked. She had found a letter in her mailbox, no return address, just her name on the front, handwritten. Inside, a note, one paragraph. "You were never right for him, but I am, and now I know where you live." That was the last either of us ever heard from her. The police said without a threat or a crime, there was nothing they could do. My ex moved in with her sister for a while. I got cameras on every corner of my house. I still think about that letter sometimes and how close she had gotten to my ex to leave that letter without being seen. And sometimes when I wake up at 3 a.m. for no reason, I can almost hear the faintest knock. She was never found, and I never got that pillowcase back. Sleep with your door locked, not just the front one. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content, and to watch more scary videos. Sleep tight if you can. Please share with family and friends.